Welcome, everybody. This is an honor to be with you tonight and see everybody's lovely faces. Amen. And I am a pastor, but I also teach leadership, and I've been in business. And when Pastor Mark gave that introduction, my first honest thought was he must not have listened to anybody else. That was my first honest thought of I'm the best leadership guy he's ever heard, but I do appreciate that. I'm honored that he would say that. I just want to take a couple of moments and just share who I am if you don't know me. If you haven't heard any of my podcasts, I do have the Anointed Leadership Podcast. I've got some information on all your seats and things. This is a little bit about what we do, what I'm passionate about, things that we're doing that actually affect your state, the state of Tennessee, which is we do evangelistic crusades from our church. Now, whether you're a church guy or not, it doesn't matter. I'm not here to promote just the church. I'm talking about leadership. Amen? But I'm going to speak to it from the biblical perspective from the greatest leader of all time, which is Jesus Christ. And the reason why I say that, some people will argue the point, but my opinion is Jesus took 12 men for 3.5 years, and we're still living by the leadership principles that he taught 2,000 plus years ago. By the way, most of those principles were established all the way back in the book of Genesis, and that's about 6,000 plus years ago. So we are living out biblical principles of leadership. Most secular entities utilize every biblical leadership principle. There's nothing new under the sun. The Bible in Ecclesiastes teaches us that. And so what it means is everything that we're doing, somebody else has already done. Bottom line is what it is. So everything I teach is strictly from the Bible principle, but I'm not going to preach. I promise you that. I'm going to give you practical ways to do leadership. Whether you're a mom, dad, business owner, entrepreneur, you got multiple businesses, you're a pastor, whatever that is, we're gonna dive into some things over the next 6 sessions, and I pray that, and I hope they help you. But this paper right here is just real little about information about us. On the back side, it talks about a lot of different things that we do. I have some social media sites. I don't man those. I don't pay attention to those. I'm not big on social media, but my team tells me I should be, so that we can connect with people. My tag is at Pastor Terry Linscott. I do have a banner there. If you would like to take a picture with that in front of it, you and your team, whatever, if you want to tag me at that on Instagram, I don't know anything else about anything else I have out there. I just know the Instagram one. I would appreciate that, and if you want to follow, we will always follow back and enjoy relationships with people. I am 48 years old. I've been in the church ministry for 31 years. I was in business in real estate, and I took $6,000 between 3 people. That's $2,000 apiece. We were at a net worth, and when I mean net worth, I mean liquid cash or capital available to us over $3 million in less than a few years. I gave that whole business away in 2019 because the Lord told me to do that. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a whole lot of money to give away. But the Lord has definitely blessed me, not necessarily in the finances, but He's blessed me in wisdom, which I think is what Solomon wanted more than anything, is money can't buy you the wisdom to be able to handle everything, to deal with situations and things that are unforeseen. And so I've been in the business realm. I've been in church business realm. I've managed a lot of employees. I've managed the hardest type of employees, which are volunteers. However, I have over 100 and some active volunteers that work for me, and they do it with a smile on their face, and they don't regret it. They're not obligated, and they don't want to go anywhere else, which I'm happy about. I have a staff back in my church in Kentucky. They're great. My son's around here somewhere. I don't know if he's there. That's my oldest. I have 4 children. My oldest is 27. My youngest is 22. We have 4 grandchildren. Man. If I could I always tell it this way, if I could bypass the kids, I would be a happy man. Somebody asked me, said, why did you have 4 kids? I said, not because I like kids. I loved my wife. That's why I had 4 kids. And somebody said, can you not figure out what caused that? I said, I wasn't willing to stop. I'm just telling you right now. And so, I like to have a lot of fun because life is no fun unless you have fun. And it's not supposed to be real hard. You should enjoy what you do. And when you love it and you enjoy it, it's not work. My objective in my personal life is to never work a day in my life, but to get up every single day and enjoy everything that I do. And what happens with me is I get up every day, enjoy everything that I do, how I help people, what I do in business, what I do in leadership. And so that's just a little bit of a background about me. But if you go to my Instagram, my Facebook page, you can find all that there. We would appreciate it. We'd love to be able to just build relationships. And you can always communicate through our website, which is terrylenscott.com. And you can find out all of our podcasts and information like that. So tonight, we're going to do 3 sessions tonight, 3 sessions tomorrow night. And we're talking, the emphasis that I want you to walk away from today is 2 thoughts. Is how do you trust people to do what God's told you to do or what you're doing? Anybody know what I'm talking about, trusting people? You ever had that? I'm that real control freak, OCD individual by nature, and it's really hard for me to do that. If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. It's really difficult to trust them if you want them, them lines. Any lawn landscape people out here that you like to put lines in your yard, your lawn? I let my kids do the lawn, and who knows what they did. They left the clip-ins high and everything else. So instead of wanting to train them, I figured that'd be too much time, so I'll just go do it myself. And then I get frustrated because I got to do it myself. Anybody else know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So trusting people to do what God or what's in your heart. What's the purpose in your heart? That is the hardest part of leadership, is to trust somebody else to do what you know is what you want, how you want it done. And it's so much easier. We'll say it. If I just do it myself, it's easier. Well, why is that easier? It's only easier because you're frustrated, but every thing you do, you take away opportunity to do something else, right? The second thing I want to just really make sure that we walk away tonight and tomorrow is how to empower, not just trust them, but empower them. To empower people to do what's in your heart, whatever that is. If I could ask, what business do you all have? Are you all business people or? The Hope Center. So how do you empower people to go do whatever it is? Do you have a business? What do you do? Construction. Yeah. You ever have guys? I used to. You just left one. So you have guys that you tell them that they need to build the wall. The studs need to be level, the straight. They need to be all. And you ever go back? You don't. They know that. So, but have you ever had to go back and double check that? Oh, sure you do. But have you ever empowered somebody to the point where you don't have to check? And that's the issue that I find most leaders in life have a hard time trusting and empowering, because it takes so much work off the leader. But if we understand that leadership is not about making money or having a lot of jobs, but it's all about influence. Everything in our life is influence. I have people tell me all the time, well, I'm not a leader. I say, yes, you are. Do you know that your children, or when you were a child, you were a leader? No, I wasn't. Anybody have kids that are picky with food? Yeah, sure. My 4 kids do not know how to eat. They have no palates that are not alive. You know what I mean? They want just a plain Jane piece of chicken, a salad with cheese and ranch. That's it. They don't want nothing else on it. And so what we would do is we would choose what restaurant that we could go to depending on what they liked. Do you know what that's called? Leadership. They were leading the parent to the degree that the parent couldn't make their own decision. It's called leadership. Leadership is simply this: influence. If you know anything else about leadership, influence. Who do you influence? How do you influence? How do you cause people to do what you want them to do? That's all leadership is. Somebody said, well, I think there's different types of leaders, and you got to be a born leader. My statement is, every leader is born. But you're not necessarily a born leader. Leadership is developed. And so many people have to realize that you have to develop in leadership. It's not easy to lead people. It's not easy to influence people to make decisions that they don't want to make. And I'm not talking about decisions that are hard. I'm talking about taking people right where they are and pulling the best out of them. That's what we're talking about in leadership, is how do I pull the best out of you to get you to reach your full potential? That's leadership. That's what entrepreneurship should be. Business owners should be that. CEOs should be that. Because if all we're doing is getting people to do tasks, we're not really affecting change. We might be lining a pocketbook, but our legacy is not talked about. I think if anybody like Chick-fil-A, anybody know what Chick-fil-A's like? There's the heaven's chicken. That's God's chicken. That's what we all think. Everybody would show up on Sunday, and everybody's mad because he's not open on Sunday, but the man makes so much money. Again, it's not money, but just listen to what I'm saying. Chick-fil-A has it down. They got it going on. They got lines in our area. The Chick-fil-A, the line is wrapped around the building. They have 4 drive-through lanes. They've got 10 people out there taking orders, and they've got it boom, 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 boom. You can be quarter mile down the road and have your food within 10 minutes. And you'll wait on it. Do you know why you'll wait on it? Because it's God's chicken. And it's their pleasure to help you. Right? They've got it going on to the degree. Why? Is because young people and old alike will join that company because they understand that company is invested in them. You can become a Chick-fil-A owner within a couple of years if you just go through the ranks and learn. We have a young man that's 17 years old in our church, and he's learning all of this leadership principle, and within 6 weeks in the region of Indiana and Kentucky where the owner of that has, in 6 weeks he's already being promoted to a manager in the store. That's unheard of in Chick-fil-A. It normally takes a year. But in 6 weeks he's learned some biblical principles of how do you influence. Not just down, but how do you influence up. And what he has done is went in and did some of the things that I've taught about trusting and empowering and being trusted and receiving power and doing it all right. And they're already talking to him about potential ownership within 6 weeks. Now I'm like, go own one, bro. Right over there. And I'll be happy. God's chicken all day long, right? But you think about them is they care about their people. Their people care about what they're selling. Their people care about their customers to the point that Chick-fil-A is one of the greatest places to work because the people that work there, any Chick-fil-A people were here? Anybody work here? You all like Chick-fil-A, right? We all like I don't know why, to be honest with you. I tell my wife I don't understand. It's just chicken. That's just Terry's opinion. I like the fries. It's fresh and clean. They're all fresh and clean, sister. Come on, man. When they go in the deep fryer and the grease, it's already clean. Come on. But if you ever work there, they give them complete permission. I'm just building kind of what we're going to talk about. I've never been through one of their training seminars. I've just read about a few things. But I understand what Jesus taught. It's exactly the principles of Jesus. Is that those employees have the right to make decisions. They have been empowered. They've been empowered that when you come up to the counter and you're unhappy with your order, something didn't go right, they have permission, or we could say they've been empowered to make a decision to make the customer happy. And the employee feels like they have authority to make it right and do well. So that's why they say, it's my pleasure. And what happens is that most entities, you take McDonald's, they could be doing the same thing, but their turnover ratio in employee rate is so great. But Chick-fil-A's is like, man, that's the place to work. The difference is trust and empowerment. And whatever your business is, whether it's in the church field or in the secular world, whatever it is, if you learn, in my opinion, in 31 years, my opinion is if you can learn to trust the people under you and empower them. It's two different definitive ideas that will create success in anything you do, whatever it is. Maybe you are in the church and you are a department head. It's the same thing. Church folk are the worst folk. I know you all are church folk, but let me just talk to you for just a second. Is everybody wants somebody else to do it, right? I done my job in the nursery. No nursery workers. Nobody really loves the nursery. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, drop the kid off. I need a 2-hour break, right? Pastor, preach longer because I don't want to go pick up little Johnny. You know what I mean? Because anyway, and so you got church folk because what happens is we demand things out of them rather than trust them and empower them to make some decisions in their life. It doesn't matter if it's volunteer or paid. You learn these two things. I'm just going to say a few things about tonight. As the basic principles to develop trust is you have to understand what you're doing. If you don't know the why and the what, you'll never know what to trust, nor can somebody trust you. What's the purpose of my entity, my business, my company, my organization? What's the purpose? I hear this word all the time. Well, what's the purpose? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? I call it the word vision. Vision is the same thing as purpose. And so what we understand is when you don't have the vision, you don't even know where you're going. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You work for somebody, you really don't know the purpose. We don't even know what my job is. Why do I have to do what I do? Factory people don't realize they just do certain things, and that's all. They don't understand the outside, the end goal of it. And so we want to realize that. And we got to realize that vision is the driving force that causes a great trust. If people don't believe in what you're doing and know what you're doing, why do they trust you? They only work for you for a paycheck. I want people to work for me and give me their life, not clock in and clock out. I want their passion. I want their effort. I want their energy. I want everything about them. I want them to love what they do. I want them to take ownership with what they do. But they won't do that unless they know what they're doing. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But I want to just read a few things this way. You can lead up and down. I call it influence up and influence down. There was a time in our church, I wasn't the senior leader of my church. I was second tier, and why I call it senior leader is the head. Second tier is everybody else. Now, you could have a flow chart, a different chart of different levels and who does what and who reports to what, and those are great, but I think everybody else is second tier. That's just the way I look at it. And there was many times that we were doing things in our church that my senior leaders didn't want to do, and we would just stop. But then there was a moment I realized that this is what they want to do. They don't know they want to do it, but I knew they wanted to do it. Because I knew it lined up with the vision that they had. They just couldn't see it. And so I had to determine, how do I bring it to them and make it their idea? Show them that it fits the vision that they're talking about. It's called influence up. We did that. And we shifted the idea, we shifted the influence and the determining department that was actually over it, and they actually did it, and it's what we're doing today, which is crusade evangelism. The thing that you see on the paper in front of you, the crusade evangelism with tent and all of that stuff, we call it LOL, not laugh out loud, but love out loud. It started back in 2016. I wasn't the senior leader, and I led up to the degree that today we are doing it full blown. It's called influencing up, and you can lead up. It's just simply influence, if you understand that. So let's talk tonight about vision. This is the first thing. We're going to talk about obstacles to vision in the second talk, and then we're going to talk about trusting others in the third talk tonight. Everybody good? I think we're doing some questions and answers. I'm not sure. Somebody said that. Are we doing that? Question and answer? Do they have a place to submit their questions? Online does? And here is it just, so we'll be raising a hand. That'll be after between the second and third session. So, and again, welcome to all those that are online. We appreciate you joining us tonight. So let's talk about it. Vision, let's talk about what vision is. There was an author and a poet named Jonathan Swift back in 1800 something, and he did a lot of writings. And he said this: vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Vision is simply this: what are you passionate about? What's the thing that drives you? What's the thing that defines you to be different than somebody else? Vision is the art of seeing what's invisible to others. I don't know about you, but you ever had a passion about something and you tell somebody and they don't see it? Like, that'd be a great idea. Vision's not an idea, by the way. Vision's not a goal. Vision is a burning passion on the inside of you. The thing that you go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning thinking about. Vision is the thing that drives you and compels you. I say it a lot like this: vision is what satisfies me. I get up every day and I want to be satisfied by what drives Terry. And that's what Jonathan Swift said. It's a great quote from years and years and years ago, but I still believe it's true today. Vision is not entrepreneurship. Vision is not a career. Vision is not a job. It's not what I do. It's who I am. It's not the thing that I do, because what I do gives me the potential to reach what the vision is in my life. Your job is not your vision. The vision in you is more than what you do. My brother here, my friend here says, I'm a contractor. He builds houses for a living. That's not who he is. It's what he does. But in him, something in that company is driving him. Whether maybe it's the Hope Center. I'm just going to use them. They're sitting beside you. Maybe is that what happens? No? You don't even know them probably. Hey, just greet each other. Maybe be blessed. Maybe it's to help. In his heart is to help people going through whatever the situation Hope Center has and whatever they're connected to. But his vision, the passion in him, the construction gives him the permission to do it. That's all it is. This is why I do what I do, is that vision on the inside of you. You and I learn this. We understand it's not a goal. It's not an idea. You can't just create it. It's something you're born with on the inside of you. Vision is something that not only you look at, but it's something that you see inwardly. I'm just going to say it again. It's passion. It's not what I just see, but it's in me. If I could use anything as an example, this, what I'm doing tonight, I saw in me years ago. I didn't do it. I don't have all that formal, what you would consider, or I would consider education to do it. I don't have all that formal of training. What I had was a vision in me, a passion to help people find the best part of them and reach their full potential. That's how I see it. Everything about my life is to help people grow and become all that God has called them to be, right? Be all you can be. That's what Terry's passion is. And when somebody like a Pastor Mark sees that in me and invites me in, I saw this, and nobody else could believe it. Nobody else could see it. It's passion. It drives everything in you. It's not a goal. The goals, if you could write anything else down, goals are checkpoints to accomplishing the vision. That's all goals are. They're not the vision. They're just the goals, which are checkpoints. They're those moments. You ever play Mario Kart? Anybody know what I'm talking about? You drive around, you got a checkpoint and gives you more time. That's what goals are. This gives you more time. It accelerates you to another level. It creates the burning passion on the inside of you to keep doing everything that's in your heart. The difference between a goal and a vision. Visions, allows you to determine the course of your life, and it's also the metric system that determines the success. That's what vision is. So, for example, Terry's heart and passion is to help people. But my organization, which is an organism, what I like about organisms are they're living and ever growing. That's an organism. They're alive and they are ever growing. When you look at the studies of theory, one of the theories says every organization is an organism because they're constantly alive and growing. If your organization is not alive and thriving, then it's probably dead. It's pretty simple to figure out, right? Hello, are you up? Has it got a pulse? Scream at it, doesn't move. But your entity is alive. It's an organization that's an organism that's alive. So there's metrics and there's ways to determine whether they're going. Our vision is 4 things. You could call it 5 pillars, and they are this. Our church is to do this: reach the nations, Central, South America, and Africa. That's global. The second thing we do is a Bible college. We have a Bible school now. We're opening a Bible college in 2024. We are going to plant churches and help equip pastors in Kentucky and the 7 states. We are then going to do tent crusades in the 7 states and around Kentucky. And the 5th one would be we're going to raise up pastors and send them out. Those are the 5 pillars of what we do. And here's what you do. The metric is, what are you doing? How successful are you? How are you attaining that? What is that? That's our vision. That's everything about us. That's our DNA. That's who we are. There's metrics in it. What are you doing? So for example, for 36 years, our ministry's never planted a church. But in March the 12th of this year, just a few weeks down the road, we're planting our first church in New Albany, Indiana. That's a metric to success of the vision. What have we done that determines what we've said we're going to do? Vision it allows you to determine the course. It also allows you to determine, are you succeeding? Anybody understand what I'm saying? Are you reaching it? An organism, I love the definition of it. It's alive and it's ever growing. This means this one thing about vision: you'll never attain it. You'll never achieve it all. You'll never reach it all. Because the vision is meant to grow. It's meant to evolve. That's what vision is supposed to do. It's never meant to be done. I'm over and done. We never are fulfilled. It's called legacy. We leave that out to somebody else. The thing that we have in our heart, the thing God placed in our heart, we're constantly growing it to leave it to the next generation. It's a legacy. It's a legacy. There's some people we don't even want to talk about. But there's people that we do want to talk about because they've left a good legacy. Vision is that type of a thing. So if you get in your mind that you'll never attain it, you'll never achieve it, but it's always evolving, now you have metrics to grow. Our vision grows in our heart. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And so we look at those things. I want to just give you 2 verses, because I'm a Bible guy, and everything I do is through the scripture. And the Bible says in Proverbs 29, verse 18, where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. And many people may know this verse, but I look at that and I see this, and it says, where there's no vision, the people are unrestrained, but happy is he who keeps the law. What this cast off restraint means, it simply means this: who cares? I don't care. If you've ever lived life with an I don't care attitude, it means you don't know the vision in your life. You don't know the purpose of your life. People with purpose get up every day and say, yeah! People that with no purpose say, who cares? It is what it is. It's just another day. There's a difference there. And God did not make junk. Whether you believe in God or not, that's between you and the Lord. Hopefully you'll know him one day, right? But God did not make junk, and he created everybody on purpose with the purpose. There's no accidents in God. There's no mistakes in God. God didn't mess up. God built and birthed every individual. And inside of every individual, he put a vision. He put a purpose. He put a plan for each and every one of us. I love what Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1 says. Remember I said Jonathan Swift said vision is the art of seeing what others people can't. In Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1, Habakkuk begins to tell the Lord, I want to understand what you're doing. And the Lord replies to Habakkuk this, or Habakkuk tells the Lord, I will watch and see what the Lord will say. Now to me that's so powerful, because why are you watching to see what he'll say? Shouldn't we listen? What he's saying is, I'm going to watch and receive the birthing of what God is saying to me. That's what vision is. And where there is no vision, people just, who cares? But where there is vision, people are dogmatic. They're like a pit bull wrapped around its prey, and it won't let go until it's dead. That's what people that have vision are. And God is interested, and you should be interested in understanding it. By the way, those under you, those people you're leading, they want to know where they're going. And vision determines where we're going. We must understand those things. I'm going to read you a couple things, because I know we're running through this, but I'm going to give you some points here in just a second. But vision is a couple of different things. It's got to be discovered. You have to discover your vision. It's not hidden from you, it's hidden for you. It's in you, and it's not hidden from you, but it's in you, and you must discover that. You must pull that out of your life. And that is going through everything you've been through. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You're still trying to figure it out. Just keep going. And everything you and I have done, everything's on purpose with the purpose. Your purpose, your vision, your plan, the passion of God in your heart is something in you already, and everything you're doing, it's already being discovered. I promise you. God is not a man that he would lie. He is God. Amen? So what we find is this. Vision's not goals, but goals are simply checkpoints to identify progress along the journey. That's all goals are. This is my goal, I'm going to reach this, and that's the checkpoint. Right? That's what we want to understand. So here's what I want you to understand, that the Bible says in Habakkuk chapter 2, remember verse 1, he said, I'm going to watch and see what the Lord would say. So now I'm understanding that I'm painting a picture in my mind. So it's almost like this. You give an artist a blank canvas, give him a brush, and give him paint colors, and you ask him to paint what you tell him. That's what he's saying. And so then verse 2, it says this. The Lord speaks and says, write the vision down, make it plain, so that he who reads it can run with it. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You ever wrote your vision down? Who's wrote their vision down? Anybody? A couple people. So here's the big mistake in leadership. We never write anything down. That's a big mistake in all leaders. Why? Because we can't commit it to memory. We just can't. It's impossible, because you and I will forget it. We'll get distracted. Other things will come along. Other things will pick at us and pluck at us. Everything is a competition for your time. Everything's a competition for your energy, and you've got to write it down and keep it in front of you. He says, write it down, make it plain. So if you ask me, I'm going to show you here in a minute, but our vision is written very clear. Central, South America, Africa. That's our foreign missions. Our local area of influence is Kentucky and the 7 states. It's written down. So for me to get a call from Pastor Mark and say, Terry, I need you to come to Tennessee and preach and help me in leadership, I don't have to question that. You know why? It's within my boundaries. I know that. But if I get a call for Michigan, you know what I have to do? I don't know. Because the boundaries of Terry May not allow me to go to Michigan because that's not my field or my area to plant. I have an area. I know exactly what it is, and I write it down, and it's a measurement. It's the metrics of my life to determine my success. Because other areas and other fields could be vying for my time, which will distract me from my passion. And you have to write those things down. If you don't, then you'll just say yes to everything. Write it down. Here's what I want you to talk about. Why do I write it? I'll just read these to you. Number one, so you won't be lost or forget it. I said this yesterday in my preaching. Any wives ever send your husband to the store to buy something and they come home empty-handed? But they got a fishing rod, they got a new gun, they got ammo, they got new boots, but they did not. Yeah, she's saying, yeah, I'm sorry, man, you're in the front row, but. so that we're not committing it to memory. We have way too many things going through here, and many of us have heard that. We know it, but we're not going after it because we forgot about it. The second thing is, vision is something you've never attained. The thing in your heart, you have not fully attained it. And if I said I would like for everybody to come to my church at 1352 North Logston Parkway in Radcliffe, Kentucky, I'll see you there, 40160. I'll see you there. And you don't have a GPS, you'll get lost. You'll think it's somewhere that way, or it's somewhere, and you'll just get going. That's why people feel lost every day, is they don't know where they're going. You write it down so it gives you clear direction to know exactly where to go in your life. The second thing it does is why you write it down is not just so you won't get lost or forget it, but number two is it brings focus to your daily agenda. This is what I do every day. Every day. This is why I get up. This is what I'm supposed to do. That's why I write it down. I have mine written down. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is why I get up. And everything in my daily agenda aligns itself to my vision, my passion, the thing that drives me, the thing that moves me. I like to say this, the thing that makes me tick. That get up every day. It gives me focus to my daily agenda. The vision, writing it down. If I don't write it down, I'm just going to do whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Any people that you say, I'm going to do this tomorrow, and then you get 5 phone calls and you never get to it. Yeah, because everything else becomes a priority rather than what you've decided this is what I'm going to do. I know you may have heard these things about white space in your calendar. You have to. And how do you put white space? You find out what my focus is supposed to be. If you live on purpose, I promise you'll be much more fulfilled. Right? The third thing that we realize is this. One is so you won't get lost or forget it. 2, it'll bring a focus to your daily agenda. And number 3, it brings a focus or a discipline, to your decisions. Writing your vision down and brings a focus to every decision in your life. If you don't write it down, then you don't know what you're to say yes to and what you're to say no to. Your daily decisions are disciplined based on what you're doing and your purpose, and it should be that way. Vision, simply as this to me, is the source of my discipline. Everything. I could do certain things, but it is not my purpose, so I don't do it. Vision is my discipline. I wrote this down. Discipline is equal to this, a self-imposed standard for the sake of a higher goal. It's a self-imposed standard in me. I'm deciding that this is my standard because I have something higher to achieve in my life. I'm not just going to go through the monotony of the day. I'm not just going to go through the day and think like, it is what it is. Have you ever said that? I've said that before I figured out my vision. It's like, it is what it is. I guess it is what it is. No, it should never be, it is what it is. It should be on purpose, with great intentionality. And discipline is self-imposed standards. These are the things that I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything else. I wrote it down this as discipline, the discipline to my decision, it determines when I have vision, what I say yes to and what I say no to. I'm going to talk about this, and I did a whole podcast on this, The Power of No. I think it's one of the best podcasts I've ever done because I know how to say no. And no is a full sentence. Seriously, it is. No. Hey, Terry, can you come over and help me? No. But everybody feels awkward with no. You know what we want to do right after no? Because I need, I'm supposed to. And the moment we put because in, you know exactly as well, and I know. The minute I start becausing it, I now justify why my decision of no isn't really that important, so I offer my help. And you have to learn the power of no. So the vision brings discipline to your decisions and gives you permission to say no. Why don't you do it for me? Just try it. Say no. See how easy that is? It's a full sentence. N-O, period. It requires no justification. You know that it's no because of my vision, but they don't need to know why. Y'all smiling at me. Appreciate you smiling at me. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23, I'm telling you, everything is in the scriptures. Everything is there. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23, it says this: everything is permissible. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So you can do whatever you want to do, but it's not going to benefit you. You can do whatever you want to do, it's not going to benefit you. And so there's many times I've turned down, personally, invitations because it doesn't benefit me. It might benefit them, but it has to be mutually beneficial for me to do it. And so you have to realize that you can't say yes to everything. You're welcome to, but it's not going to benefit your future. It's not going to benefit your life. It's not going to benefit your disciplines. Right? Self-discipline is simply this. This is what I look at self-discipline. Self-discipline is simply motivated by an inward standard to achieve something. That's all it is. It is. You guys look like you work out. You look a lot bigger than I do. I'd love to look like you, but I just don't have the discipline. But it takes work to get guns, right? Yeah, it takes work. It takes an inward motivation rather than somebody else saying, come on, let's go to the gym. There's a difference between you and I. I need somebody else to say, come on. You're like, I'm just going because I don't really care about you. That's self-discipline. That's what it should be like in your everyday life with your purpose, your vision. It's nobody else has to do this. Paul said in Romans chapter 1, he said, I am eager to come preach the gospel. Do you know what he was saying? I'm internally motivated. That's what self-discipline is. When you know who you are, you know the purpose. It is an internal motivation. You need nobody else to help you. And that's what vision does. Let me talk to you about it real quick. How do you write it? How do you write a vision? If you don't have a vision, you should write these points down or somehow get with them and get a video or an audio recording or whatever that looks like. But how do I write it? Number one, I use this really, really well because the way Terry talks and the way Terry thinks is different. So I use this one. You ever heard of KISS? Anybody know what KISS is? Keep it simple, stupid. That's how Terry talks to himself. I look at myself in the mirror and say, kiss yourself, bro. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to me. But that's how you write a vision. Very simple. It's keep it simple, stupid. You keep that in your mind. You talk to yourself. Don't try to make it elaborate. It don't have to be all elaborate. Just really, really simple. If you'll keep it simple, it will be very easy to write it. That's what you have to realize. I've learned it this way. I do it this way. Simple bullet points. Bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And if you can go find out what are your passions, what are the things that are in you that's passionate about, like Terry is leadership, is help people discover their best, help people reach their full potential. That's my passion. I've just told you my vision. That right there, personally. My church organization, everything I do fits that organization. It fits everything to do with the church ministry. And everything that we're doing, everything in me fits perfectly. But that was already written, and I had to discover me. I didn't need to write me to fit it. I discovered me, and it fits that. It just so happens I'm there. By the way, everywhere you are is on purpose. If your vision doesn't line up with where you are, you might have to have a conversation. 1, bullet points, KISS. Just remember that. Just give yourself a kiss. 2, here's how you write it. You have to accept your vision. This is a hard part. Because many times we feel our passion, but we compare ourselves with everybody else. We think that what we're doing isn't as good as somebody else. If I could use Pastor Mark, he's a pastor. This is his church, a great church, by the way. It's a great area, got a great vision. And I hear God call me to be a pastor. And then all of a sudden I start comparing myself to his vision. I'm thinking, ooh, I don't look like he looks. I don't think I'll be like him. He's too cool, man. He wears holes in his jeans, and while he preaches, man, he ain't got no hair. I got a head of hair, man. You know, he's got a beard. I can't grow a beard. Now all of a sudden I start comparing why I'm not going to be as good as him. That means I haven't accepted who I am. If you're going to write it, you got to keep it simple, and you got to accept the thing. Accept it. Accept who you are. Quit comparing yourself to everybody else. I need you, you need me. Whatever you are, I need, and whatever I am, you need. That's what we have to understand. We get this comparison mindset. We got to quit asking the questions, what if it don't work? What if it's not going to like? What if nobody likes it? It doesn't matter. Until you accept it, nobody else will accept it. I haven't even told you to pin it down yet, other than put bullet points, but you got to accept it. You got to believe in it. If you don't believe, how are you going to help somebody else trust you? And how are you going to trust them if you don't even believe in it? This is part of writing it. The third point is write out what you see, not what is. If I could ask Pastor Mark real quick while you taking your quick note. When you started your church with vision, did you see 400 people within 6 years? No. Did you see yourself with Hope Center? But you're doing it, right? But you wrote down what you saw here, not was actually there. Because vision is unseen to everybody else. This is how you write it. Don't write what you can see, because it literally is greater than what you can see. If you pin it to what it is, you haven't wrote it down properly. Because everything in your heart is bigger. Everything God's designed you for is greater than what you can accomplish. It's probably bigger than the community you live in. But you'll never get there unless you write down what you see, not what actually is. If you write down based on limitations of past, limitations of economics, limitations of community, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll always be struggling. I promise you. I know because I did it myself. The next one is this. Eliminate the what if, could be, not sure's, and incapabilities. Take yourself out of the equation. Don't say, well, I'm not good enough. Like me. Listen, I'm an introvert by nature. I don't, to call me to be a pastor was definitely God. Because, by the way, I love people today, just so you know. I love people. But I hated people before I knew I was a pastor. Ministry would be great. This is what I said. Ministry would be great if it wasn't for people. Some of y'all are just getting that. Construction would be great if it wasn't for people. If it wasn't for the homeowner, it'd be easy to build a house. They come in and change everything you got. You build it to spec, and then they say, I don't want that there. Oh, my word, my job would be easy if it wasn't for people. You can't base it on your incapabilities, your inabilities, what you don't like, what you hate, what you do like. Write what you see. And you may not know it right now, but go home tonight. Do some homework before tomorrow and actually start bullet pointing the things that you're passionate about. And don't let your inabilities or your past determine it. The next one is make it clear. Make it clear, not based on what other people think. Don't ask somebody else their opinion. Don't ask it. When you talk about public speaking, my first message I ever preached, I was 3 years old. I mean, that was a long time ago. And I thought I had a great message. I'm groomed. God called me to preach, man. And my pastor said, here, I'm going to let you preach on a Wednesday night. It's our midweek service. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. I get up and I preach my heart out, man. I was on the throne all day long. When he told me, I was king of the throne all day long. You know what I mean? And it was bothering me. I was nervous, and I get up and I just preached my heart out. It wasn't really good. Pretty bad. I lasted 7 minutes. Whew! I thought, come on, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's and I'm done. And he had to get up and just keep on. He knew he had already had a message prepared. He knew I wasn't going to do anything. If I would have took that, I wouldn't be who I am today. I mean, look at it. I got to end here. And I should have ended 4 minutes ago. I'm a long-winded preacher today. See, I'm kicking myself in the butt when I was back then now, because I'm like, look, I can preach, man. I got something to say. But if I looked at my inabilities and I think what other people thought about me, I wouldn't write it down. Get everybody else's opinion out of your ear. Get everybody's opinion. Don't ask anybody else what you see, because they can't see what you see. Vision is seeing what nobody else sees. And don't let somebody else's opinion dictate what you can or cannot do, what you should or should not do. You take what's in your heart and you do it. You do it with all your heart. Why? Because if you're going to trust somebody or empower somebody to do something with you and influence them, you got to know it. You got to believe it. And you got to understand that this is who you are. And the last thing is this. Don't brainstorm. Don't brainstorm it. Don't sit there and think, well, what if I do this, and what if I did that, and maybe if I do this, and maybe... No, get all the brainstorming out. You're not in a brainstorming session yet. You're in a vision writing session. And until you write it, you can't brainstorm anything. You don't have a goal to go after. You don't really know where you're going. You don't know what it's going to look like. But the passion in you... I understand this one thing. The two defining factors of my vision is what makes me tick and what ticks me off. Those are the two defining factors. What makes me tick is taking a brother like this and say, man, I see the great potential in you, and man, I'm going to help you reach the full potential. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to give you everything about me. I'm going to push you. I tell people all the time, I'm pushing you off the cliff. Somebody say, well, just nudge them. I don't like to nudge people. I like to two-hand shove people. I mean, I'm like, get off, go, jump. Whether you have a parachute or not, jump. That's how I like to do people. Because I know there's more to your life than what you're doing right now. Because I'm jumping, like I'm skydiving, no parachute. That's how I feel in my life. And so I want to push. That makes me tick. You know what ticks me off? People that hesitate. People that won't jump. People won't do what's in their heart. People that won't reach and go after their full potential. That ticks me off. That you're just wasting your life away. That ticks Terry off. So those two things, put them together. What do you want me to do? Help people grow in leadership and let them discover their best in their life. So you know what? I figured those two parameters, and I'm doing it. Thank God that you may not like it, but I love it, man. I'm enjoying my life. Why did it? Because I did these things. I wrote it down. Nobody else thought I could do it. Nobody else thought they would be even good. And now look, he thinks I'm the greatest since sliced bread, man. It's called vision. If you're going to trust people and you're going to empower people, you're going to have to know what you're doing and who you are. And if you don't know it and you don't know where you're going, how can you empower anybody to help you? As we develop and we discover in these next 5 sessions is how do I trust and how do I empower? First step is you discovering you. Amen? We're going to take a break, and we're going to take about 10 minutes, and we're going to come back. Sound good?